Book of Recaps tells the story of a young woman who finds a strange car in a junkyard. Back on Bumblebee's home planet, the Autobots are losing a war against the Decepticons. Their leader, Optimus Prime, sends Bumblebee to Earth to find a safe place for the Autobots to hide. The rest of the Autobots will search for help and then join Bumblebee on Earth later. Bumblebee follows Optimus Prime's orders and blasts off to Earth on a mission. Meanwhile, on Earth, soldiers are practicing when a giant object falls from the sky. One soldier named Jack gets hurt and calls for help. The soldier radios his base, saying they were attacked by something big that fell from the sky. Seeing new vehicles, B-127, the alien robot, panics and runs away. He changes into a jeep to escape, but crashes. He keeps running through the forest, chased and shot by soldiers. Finally, they corner him and damage his insides. B-127 tries to say he's friendly, but gets bombed by a plane. Then another giant robot attacks him. This enemy robot wants to know where B-127's friends are hiding. B-127 refuses to tell and gets hit, losing his voice. The enemy throws B-127 off a cliff, but he fights back and explodes his attacker. The fight damages B-127's memory. He stumbles to the beach and turns into a yellow beetle just before shutting down. Meanwhile, Charlie, a 17-year-old girl still sad about her dad's death, asks her mom for $500 to fix up her car for her birthday. Charlie's mom can't afford the car parts Charlie wants for her birthday. Instead, she asks Charlie to take her brother to karate. After work at the fair, where she spills drinks on her crush, Charlie goes to her uncle's junkyard to find parts. There, she stumbles on a yellow beetle and tries to start it. The car sends a signal that reaches another robot under attack by bad guys. The bad guys want to find Optimus Prime from this robot, but he refuses to tell and gets destroyed. Charlie picks some parts and goes home. She tries all night to fix her own car, but nothing works. Upset, she goes to bed. Charlie feels bad her mom's trying to move on with a new husband after her dad's death. On her 18th birthday, Charlie gets a flowered helmet and a self-help book from her mom and stepdad. She decides to keep the yellow beetle and offers to work a year at her uncle's in exchange for it. But her uncle surprises her by giving it to her as a birthday present. Charlie spends a few hours fixing the beetle and drives it home. Later that night, she checks on the car and sees B-127 transform. He's scared, but Charlie calms him down. When her mom enters the garage, B-127 hides and turns back into a car. After her mom leaves, Charlie tries talking to B-127. She figures out he understands her, but can't talk back because of a broken voice system. B-127 can't remember his past, so Charlie names him Bumblebee. Across the country, a couple argues about their relationship when they see something fall from the sky. The man tries to protect his car, but the object hits a truck instead. Another object falls. This time, the object turns into two robots who kill the man. These robots are looking for Bumblebee. The next morning, Charlie wakes up and can't find Bumblebee in the garage. Charlie races home worried and finds out her mom took the car with Bumblebee to the vet. She grabs her bike and rushes after them, ignoring her neighbor's greeting. At the vet, Charlie sees Bumblebee waving and freaks out. She convinces her mom to let her take the dog home instead. Later, Charlie takes Bumblebee to the beach and explains he needs to stay hidden. She tells him to turn into a car whenever anyone else is around. Meanwhile, soldiers hunt for the alien robots that arrived on Earth. A scientist is excited to meet aliens, but the soldiers are ready to fight. The bad robots lie and say they're here to catch a dangerous criminal from their planet. The soldiers don't trust them, but a scientist convinces them to talk. Back at the beach, Charlie tries to fix Bumblebee's voice, but accidentally plays a message from Optimus Prime. Bumblebee remembers bits and pieces of leaving his planet, but the message cuts out before he hears everything. Charlie has questions, but Bumblebee can't answer yet. Bumblebee can't talk yet, so Charlie tries fixing the car radio.
While she works, Bumblebee plays a tape of Charlie's last diving competition.
Charlie gets upset, but understands Bumblebee doesn't mean any harm. Charlie fixes the radio and Bumblebee is happy. Music on the radio reminds Charlie of her dad. She used to listen to the same music with him while fixing their car. Sadly, her dad left the day of her last diving competition, and she hasn't been in the water since. She couldn't even say goodbye. Fixing the car is important to keep her dad's memory alive. A neighbor hears the music and stops by. He sees Bumblebee and freaks out. Charlie calms him down and makes him promise to keep it a secret. She introduces Bumblebee, and the next morning, the three go for a ride. Meanwhile, scientists convince the military to help the bad robots find their criminal. Even though a soldier doesn't trust them, they get access to military resources. While driving, Bumblebee uses music from different radio stations to talk. Charlie and her neighbor stumble upon a school party they weren't invited to. They see a guy challenging others to jump into the water. He recognizes Charlie as the diving champion and jumps himself. Charlie feels pressured to join but can't because of her past trauma. She backs out and gets teased by another girl. A mean girl at the party mocks Charlie for her car and tells her to ask her dead dad for a new one. Charlie's neighbor is upset by this. Memo, the neighbor, suggests getting revenge on the mean girl. That night, they try to egg the girl's car, but Bumblebee accidentally destroys it instead. They speed away from the police chase that follows. Bumblebee uses his seats to hide Charlie and Memo from the police. He then tricks the police car and escapes. Back home, Charlie says goodnight to Bumblebee and asks him to stay hidden. Later, Charlie's dog sees Bumblebee transform and runs inside, scared. Bumblebee follows and accidentally wrecks the house. Meanwhile, the military and the bad robots hear about the driverless car and head towards Charlie's town. Charlie's neighbor hears the noise and calls her. Charlie arrives home to find it destroyed by Bumblebee's rampage. Bumblebee hides in shame, and Charlie asks him to stay hidden in the garage. Charlie tries to salvage what she can, but her mom yells at her, blaming her for the mess. Feeling like a burden, Charlie decides to leave with Bumblebee and Memo. On the road, they're stopped by soldiers who capture Charlie and Memo. Bumblebee tries to rescue them, but gets chased by the military and bombed by the bad robots. Confused and hurt, Bumblebee gets captured too. The soldiers want to know where Optimus Prime is, but Bumblebee can't remember. They torture Bumblebee and Charlie gets hurt trying to help him. When Charlie wakes up, she's back home. A soldier explains things to her mom, but Charlie can't explain her side of the story. Charlie asks Memo for help. Her brother Otis sees them, but Charlie convinces him to stay home so their mom won't know she's gone. Charlie races to find Bumblebee. Meanwhile, Bumblebee is tortured by the bad robots who want to know where the other good robots are, but he can't remember. A scientist working with the military realizes the bad robots are evil and want to destroy Earth. He tries to warn a soldier, but gets killed before he can finish. Back at home, Charlie's mom cleans up the mess and realizes Charlie is gone. She forces Otis to tell her where Charlie went. The bad robots plan to call for more help from their planet and then kill Bumblebee. After they leave, Charlie finds Bumblebee and uses the stun guns to wake him up. Luckily, it works, and Bumblebee remembers everything. Soldiers arrive and attack Bumblebee, but seeing Charlie hurt, Bumblebee fights back. He almost loses control, but then hears Charlie's voice and calms down. Memo has a broken arm and Charlie wants to escape. Bumblebee wants to fight the bad robots, and Charlie goes with him. Memo stays behind to distract the soldiers, but it doesn't work. To Charlie's surprise, her family arrives to help. They create a shield to protect her from the soldiers. At a tower, the bad robots are calling for backup. Bumblebee hides Charlie in a dumpster and attacks the tower to stop the call. One of the bad robots shoots, hitting the dumpster. Charlie escapes and hides again, thinking of a way to help. She then runs towards a tower and starts climbing. Bumblebee fights the bad robots. A soldier named Jack helps Bumblebee defeat one of them. Bumblebee even saves Jack's helicopter. Meanwhile, Charlie sneaks into a tower to stop the bad robots from calling for help. She succeeds, but Bumblebee gets hurt in the fight. Bumblebee makes a risky move to stop the bad robots. He breaks a dam. Charlie dives in after Bumblebee to save him. They escape with the soldiers' help. The next day, they say goodbye. Bumblebee takes a new form, a car, to avoid being caught. Charlie returns home to her family and fixes her dad's car. She finally gets to drive her dream car. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more.